Come on, Miss Hill. Let's go. Alright, so earlier today I was watching some YouTube videos and you saw the dogs being real cute sleeping this morning together. Now this is after work today. My truck, while I had it warming up this morning, had shut off. I've got a big cam in there and some mods and whatnot, and for whatever reason the tuner has this thing set up to where the electric fan conversion that I put in, these fans run all the time while the engine is running. And then, you know, GM also has these daytime running lights. So this thing just, you know, shut off. The fans are running. I've got the air conditioning on, so the heater fan is running and the lights are on. And I go to leave for work. I don't hear it running. I go down there and then, you know, the battery's dead. So I know it's stalled out. We had a big weather change and sometimes that throws things off a bit. I drove the tractor down and jump started the truck. Started right up, ran fine, let the battery charge for a little bit. So I came home from work today with some gas and stuff like that. And waiting for Miss Lily there. She's coming out to go for a little walk down here. And yeah, so I got home from work and I went to start the tractor and the tractor wouldn't start. And I was like, well, maybe I left the key on or something. Hooked the jumper tables up to it, and there was like no actual spark when I did that. Typically that's a good indication that you have a full battery on each end of the jumper cables. I was, you know, hitting the starter button. Somebody's put an aftermarket starter button in and it's still not starting. So I'm like, you know, either I've got, you know, a voltage drop due to some type of corrosion somewhere, or maybe the starter button is not delivering voltage to the starter solenoid, or there's an open circuit or voltage drop on that end of things. So now we're going to get down here and do a super fast no start diagnostic with this thing called the Power Probe. Now this is an older version of it. They've got newer versions, but this is great. You can hook this thing up to the battery terminals, a cigarette lighter, and you can actually supply 12 volts or a ground source through the switch. You'll see it when I hook it up. But anyhow, so if I touch something that has 12 volts, like the positive end of the starter that goes from the positive battery cable, I can see if I have battery voltage there, you know. So if I don't have full battery voltage there, you know, I've got a voltage drop, you know, there could be corrosion in the cable and I have full battery voltage, but I have low current due to resistance. And then, you know, that's not something that typically just sneaks up on you. I can also, you know, touch the terminal to the 12 volt source that initiates. Now here you'll see this would be applying power, the up button. It shows the battery voltage. 12.8 volts is great, and that's how you would throw a ground. So we're just going to come over here to the starter, all right, and I'm going to touch the main power supply here. Okay, now you may not be able to see the screen, but it's the same voltage that we had you know, coming from the battery, which is great. And now I'm going to throw some power to the starter solenoid to see if this thing kicks over. And we got nothing happening here. So that typically is telling me that either A, there's a problem with the power probe, or B, there's an issue with the starter solenoid. And why I say that is if the starter solenoid was working and there was a problem with the starter motor, we would have different symptoms. When I'm hitting the starter button, I am getting voltage to that starter solenoid. There's a little bit of voltage drop there, but it should be enough to actuate the starter solenoid. And then when I manually applied power to it, we don't have starter solenoid engagement. So now we're going to go back to an old mechanic's trick. You can even call it a barber trick. Just bang on that starter solenoid while you're pressing the starter button or holding the key on. And if it's just on the fritz, it'll typically just fire right up like that. And, you know, we just had tornado warnings and like 2 inches of rain, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe a little moisture worked its way in there and it's just acting up a little bit, but you know, you could do this for a while until it doesn't let you do it anymore. So it's free to bang on that thing with a rock or a hammer. So that's what I'm going to be doing until I actually have to buy a starter. So I hope that's helpful for you folks. It's Wednesday today, and we've got a lot of sun and wind, so this ground has, been drying up a bit. You can see, we just had 2 inches of rain last night. That's pretty dry for having 2 inches of rain. So I'm looking forward to getting back onto some excavation because I really, really need to get this section of the driveway done. I want to connect gravel on all ends, so I can just use this driveway without getting my truck all muddy and not having to park here at the end of the gravel and walk up and down when it rains. Normally, when it's not raining, I'll just drive up and down. But yeah, get yourself a power probe. Now, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble with that thing if you're just throwing powers and grounds and stuff. You can burn things up. But, in the hands of somebody who's not totally reckless and uneducated, that's a great tool. I suggest you get one. Well, anyhow, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon on the next one.